Ignore her until it haunts her. Emotional scarcity, old Stoic wisdom. What truly impacts her? It's not your tears or your pleas for attention. It's not your late night texts or the constant reassurance. What leaves a lasting mark is your disappearance. When you stop explaining yourself, when she wakes up and realizes you're no longer there, no longer chasing, no longer invested, silence is not an absence. It is filled with all the things she once took for granted. Comment. She lost her access to you. If you're ready to be the man who never grovels again, understand this. You've been misled. You were told that vulnerability, open communication, and giving more would bring her closer. Now here you are, feeling discarded, wondering why your loyalty has been met with indifference. The truth is, the world is not kind to the nice guy. Modern dating is cold, harsh, and full of masks. Men like you are often emotionally drained, used, and discarded, and many of us fail to recognize the immense power we've unknowingly surrendered. The truth is, you were always the prize. You simply forgot your worth. This message will help you remember it. Number 1. You were always the prize. You were always the prize. The truth is, you handed her the crown without even realizing it. You gave her the reins, offered up your loyalty, your time, and your energy, all without a second thought. And she wore that crown not with grace, but with entitlement. She took your devotion, twisted it into leverage, and fed on your attention as if it was something owed to her, never once questioning whether she had earned it. She didn't have to fight for your time or affection because you gave it freely, and what comes too easily is rarely respected. You bent over backward, thinking that love was about sacrifice. You told yourself if you gave more, if you texted more, showed up more, she would love you deeper, stay with you longer. But love doesn't thrive in the soil of desperation. It decays. And what she smelled wasn't need. It was your deep-rooted belief that you weren't enough unless she validated you. She saw your desperation in every instant reply, in every sleepless night you spent wondering if she had even read your message, or worse, if she just didn't care. You told yourself maybe she was just busy, confused, or afraid. But no, she saw the imbalance. She saw that you were available on demand, ready to bend, willing to forgive, and most of all, unafraid to be left behind. And that's when she backed off. People only value what they fear losing, and you made it clear she had nothing to fear. No matter how distant, cold, or disrespectful she became, you'd always be there, like a loyal dog, never walking away. That isn't love, that's surrender. Handing over your crown like that to someone who never earned it is the ultimate mistake. She took it because she didn't know how to value it, didn't understand the treasure she held in her hands. And when she grew bored, she cast it aside, just like she did with you. But the truth is, you were always the prize, not because of what you have, your money, your looks, or your status, but because of your loyalty, your consistency, and your fire. And nobody sees that fire when it's always burning just for them. You gave so much, you let the flame burn so brightly for her that it consumed you and blinded her to your worth. She took it all and you gave it freely, thinking it would make her see how much you cared. But love doesn't thrive when it's taken for granted. It shrivels up and dies. What you need to do is simple. Let the flame pull back. Let her feel the cold. Stop burning for someone who doesn't appreciate the warmth you provide. Remember who you were before you lost your edge, before you began chasing someone who never even looked back. You don't become more valuable by giving more. You become more valuable by realizing your worth isn't something to be proved, it's something to be understood. Once you grasp this, everything changes. The game shifts. You stop chasing her validation. You stop explaining yourself. You stop waiting for someone to notice you. You stop begging for crumbs. Why? Because kings don't run after what walks away. Kings building they rise, and they let the ones who couldn't see their worth fade into the fog of their past. You were always the prize, she just didn't know it. And now, she doesn't get to. You hold the power of old Stoic wisdom, the strength of an iron mind, and the unwavering confidence of Stoic principles. Stand firm in your own value. Never beg for the respect or affection of someone who doesn't see it. Your worth isn't up for negotiation. And the moment you realize that, the game shifts entirely. You become untouchable, unshakable. You stop letting anyone define your worth but you. So walk away from those who never saw you for who you truly are. And remember, you were always the prize. Number 2, pain is the pathway to power. There's a truth that no one wants to face. Pain is not punishment. It's the pathway to power. The sting you feel in your chest isn't a mark of weakness. It's a revelation, an awakening that calls you into the next version of yourself. Every tear you've shed, every sleepless night, is a chapter in the story that ends with your rebirth. You weren't weak because you cared. You weren't soft because you believed in the promise of forever. But now you know better. That pain, deep and unbearable, the kind that keeps you up at night, isn't a sign to quit. It's a transformation waiting for you to lean into it. That pain is calling you to evolve. It's life itself ripping off the blindfold, tearing away the comfort you once clung to so that you can finally see what's real. And the hard truth is this: she left. She didn't just leave your life, she left you questioning everything: your value, your purpose, your identity. In that searing emptiness, you face the rawness of who you are and who you've become. But here's the thing: that pain, as unbearable as it may seem, is the very tool that will carve your next version. The question is, what will you do with it? You can collapse under it, let it crush you, or you can rise. You can use it to build the man you were always meant to be. Most men, they numb it. They run into distractions, into the arms of another woman, or they escape into the haze of their phones or substances. Anything to avoid facing that pain. But not you. You're not most men. You are a man of purpose. You will sit with that pain. You will bleed with it. You will listen to it. Because here's the undeniable truth: pain is information. It tells you where you gave too much, where you let yourself forget who the hell you were. She didn't just break your heart. She exposed where you were still asleep, still allowing yourself to be less than you are. That pain is your spark. And if you're brave enough to stop running from it, you'll see it can build you. It can sharpen you into something no one will ever dare break again. Here's what you need to realize: your worth was never defined by who stayed or left. And you're not rebuilding to get her back. You're rebuilding to become a man who no woman will ever hold that kind of power over again. The pain is not your punishment. It's your invitation to rise, to evolve, to remember that you were never meant to stay broken. You are a work in progress, and your past is just that, past. And if she saw your pain and walked away, then she doesn't deserve the man who will rise from it, the man who will learn the Stoic rules of self-mastery, the man who will never make the same mistake again. If even a spark of truth has lit up inside you as you read these words, then just imagine what an entire guide built on these principles could do for your life. Practical Stoicism isn't just theory, it's the art of detaching, of rebuilding, and becoming the kind of man who doesn't flinch when she pulls away. It's about paths of wisdom that will lead you away from the chains of dependency and toward true freedom. The Stoic relationship blueprint isn't some vague self-help theory, it's a weapon. It's everything they never wanted you to know about walking away and standing tall. It teaches you how to reclaim your power, how to never chase again, and how to keep your dignity no matter what life throws at you. This isn't a book, it's a survival guide for men who refuse to crumble. It shows you how to detach from the drama, how to rebuild your life, how to walk away with your head held high. You need it, because if you've ever stayed too long, begged too hard, or broken yourself just to keep someone who wouldn't even text you back, then this is your answer. This is your beginning. Once you have it, it's yours forever. You don't rent power, you own it. And this guide, it's always there, ready, waiting, quietly reminding you who you truly are. It's a constant reminder that you are no longer the man who pleads for attention. You are the man who stands tall, who holds his ground, and who doesn't flinch when things get tough. Number 3, no contact equals maximum impact. There's an ancient truth that rings louder today than ever before. Emotional scarcity is a powerful tool, and it can haunt those who rely on your constant attention. You must understand this. When you stop chasing her, when you withdraw emotionally and physically, you create an absence so profound, it shakes her to her core. You see, she expected you to always be there, always running after her, always giving her that validation she took for granted. But when you chose peace over the chaos of proving yourself, when you chose silence over begging for her attention, something changed. That silence, that absence, becomes the most powerful message you've ever sent. It's louder than any plea you could have made, stronger than any words you've spoken. In the wisdom of Epictetus, a Stoic who knew the value of emotional discipline, he said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." You must choose to want less attention from her, less validation, and you'll find power. Realize this: when you give up the chase, you start to win. You stop feeding the emotional leash that kept you bound to her whims. The no contact rule isn't a petty act of revenge. It's a strategy of self-respect, a calculated move to regain your control. You've been played, no doubt. She trained you to think you were the one chasing love, but the truth is you were being manipulated by the very lack of attention she once gave you. But when you stop, when you withdraw, not to punish her, but to reclaim your dignity, you shift the entire dynamic. The void you leave behind will reverberate in her world, and she'll feel it. You stop feeding her need for validation, and suddenly she's left wondering, where did he go? And that's where the power lies. It's not in chasing her. It's in making her question her value in your life. It's in realizing she didn't miss you when you begged, when you cried, when you sent those long, heartfelt messages she barely acknowledged. She missed you when she wondered if someone else had your attention, when she realized that the time, energy, and love you once gave her could now be focused elsewhere. That's when she truly feels the sting of your absence. This isn't about making her feel bad. It's about making you feel powerful again. It's about putting your focus on your own life, your own well-being, and your own value. And when you do that, when you choose your own peace over her chaos, something remarkable happens. She begins to feel something she never thought possible: regret. She begins to wonder if she let go of someone irreplaceable. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice. You're not punishing her, you're protecting yourself, and in doing so, you teach her that your emotional strength is not for sale. Remember, this isn't about running hot and cold, playing games, or seeking revenge. It's about setting a standard. When you stop chasing her, stop seeking her validation, you set a new standard for how you expect to be treated. The absence you create is not a sign of weakness, it is your strength. It is a deliberate act of regaining control over your emotional energy. Do not give it away freely, and do not chase those who don't appreciate it. When you adopt this mindset, the Stoic wisdom of Epictetus becomes clear. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you react by choosing yourself, you show your true power. The absence you leave will not go unnoticed. Eventually, she will realize the cost of losing you, and by then, it will be too late. In modern life, we often fall into the trap of chasing love and validation. Social media and constant communication make it easy to forget that true love isn't about constant contact. It's about respect, boundaries, and mutual admiration. Be the man who walks with purpose. Be the man who doesn't chase, but who values his own peace and well-being above all else. Follow the teachings of Stoicism, of Epictetus, control what you can, and let go of what you can't. Stop chasing. Start winning. When you shift your focus from her to your own life, when you stop trying to win her back, that's when you truly start winning. That's when you become the man she never thought she'd lose. If you find this message valuable, like, comment below and share it with someone who could benefit from this insight. Don't forget to subscribe for more wisdom. Comment to remember, I choose my peace over validation. Your words and actions have the power to shape your reality. Embrace your value, stay grounded, and protect your energy. Number 4, stop texting, stop watching, stop caring. Every time you check her feed, every late night text you agonize over and delete, every minute spent over analyzing her every move, you're handing over your power. And who are you giving it to? Someone who's already decided you're replaceable. It's time to stop holding on to the fantasy version of her, the one who made you feel like you were her world, the one who smiled, who made you believe she cared. You're hanging on to an illusion, ignoring the reality. She chose distance. She saw your value, but didn't honor it. She knew your heart was real, but she treated it like a safety net, always there when she needed it, but never truly there for you. The more you scroll through her stories, waiting for that message, trying to decode her every move, the more you chain yourself to a woman who, in her mind, already walked out the door. This isn't about being strong, it's about being free. Because there's no peace to be found in a place where you've already lost yourself. You can't rebuild your confidence while playing detective in her digital life. Stop chasing clarity from someone who's never given it to you. Cut the cord, not because you hate her, but because you love yourself enough to stop pouring your energy into someone who won't even make it clear if she still wants you. Yes, it'll hurt. It'll feel like a detox, like your fingers are rebelling against your mind when you stop yourself from sending just one more message. But that discipline, my friend, is the beginning of your transformation. Each moment you resist, each time you don't check her page or feed her ego with attention, you become stronger. What happens next? You come back to yourself. The pull starts to fade. The memories lose their grip on you. You begin to see her for who she really is, not the woman in the highlight reel, but the one who needed you to chase her so she could feel wanted. She kept you hanging, always just enough to keep you in her orbit without truly valuing you. You deserve more than that, and you'll never get it if you're still watching, still waiting, still hoping. Log off, delete the thread, clear the space she never earned in your life. The moment you stop giving her the audience she craves, her act falls flat. In that silence, something new begins to grow. You. The man who doesn't just survive heartbreak but rewrites the script entirely, taking control of his own story. This is the foundation of Old Stoic wisdom, understanding that your power lies in yourself, not in the validation of someone who can't give it. The iron mind isn't just about enduring hardship, it's about choosing to rise above it, to step back and let go, even when it's tough. This is where Stoic principles come into play. Be the man who masters his emotions, who knows his worth, and doesn't seek validation from those who can't see it. You must take the lesson of emotional scarcity to heart. Don't give away your energy. Don't let your emotional reserves run dry on someone who takes and never gives back. This isn't just about avoiding pain. It's about reclaiming your power and your peace. Remember, the Stoic warrior doesn't get caught in the distractions of the world. He doesn't waste his time chasing shadows. He knows the power of emotional scarcity. You too must embrace this wisdom. Every time you resist the urge to check her story, to send that message, to dwell on her absence, you grow stronger. You build the iron mind that can withstand anything life throws at you. The Stoic knows peace comes not from the world's approval, but from mastering oneself. This is your journey. Keep walking, and the weight of her absence will no longer weigh you down. You'll emerge free, focused, and stronger than ever before. Number 5, flip the narrative. She starts chasing. There's a hidden power in withholding your attention. Men, listen up. If you want to turn the tables, you must learn the art of emotional scarcity. It's one of the most subtle yet profound tools in the ancient playbook of Stoic rules and practical Stoicism. And trust me, it works wonders when used wisely. Here's the deal. When you stop feeding her attention, when you cut off the emotional validation she's grown accustomed to, her world doesn't simply grow quiet, it goes into crisis mode. She'll start questioning everything. You were once the steady rhythm of her life. Your attention was the constant beat that kept her emotional symphony in tune. And the moment you vanish, not with anger, but with indifference, that void becomes deafening. It's like she's walking through a room and the silence is all she hears. The truth, she never respected what was always available, but once it's gone, she starts to realize how badly she took it for granted. And that emptiness, that absence of your presence, becomes a shock to her system. It's not just noticeable, it's terrifying. Her ego once thrived on your energy. Your interest was the fuel for her emotional engine, and now that you've turned off the supply, she's left with nothing but her own fear. Fear of losing the one thing she relied on for emotional support, your validation. This isn't just about losing you, it's about losing what you gave her, the significance. You may think she's handling it well, posting more on social media, laughing louder at parties, looking better than ever. Don't be fooled. Every laugh, every photo, every post is calculated. It's not a display of strength. It's a desperate attempt to provoke your reaction, to draw you back into the game she was always winning. But when you stop playing by her rules, when you rewrite them in your own image without making a single announcement, that's when the shift begins. And here's the beauty of it. When you stop proving your worth and just live as if you already know your value, she feels it before you even utter a word. Your focus shifts from her to yourself. It's in the silence. It's in the fact that you no longer orbit her unpredictability like the planets around the sun. Your energy is no longer chasing her whims. And that absence, that lack of reaction, it does something she wasn't ready for. It makes her doubt herself. Now she starts to wonder, has someone else caught your attention? Did you finally see through her emotional games? Did you stop seeing her as the end game and start seeing her as just another checkpoint on your journey? That wondering, that uncertainty, it ignites a fire she never felt when you were chasing her. Because now, you're the one she has to figure out. You're the mystery, the riddle she once thought she had solved. And women don't chase when they're in control, they chase when they lose control. This isn't manipulation. This is restoration. You've become the man who, after months of pleading for consistency, now walks with unwavering conviction. You've stepped into your power, and the shift is undeniable. And when she sees that you're not just pretending to move on, but you're actually becoming better without her, it shakes her to the core. She once had your attention for free, but now she'll have to work for it. She'll have to earn it. And deep down, she'll start realizing that what she once dismissed as good enough was actually better than she ever deserved. Most people can't admit this, that what they lost was greater than they thought they had the right to keep. But when you flip the narrative, she begins to see things clearly. Value doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't need to shout from the rooftops. It just stops showing up. And when it does, what was once overlooked suddenly becomes unforgettable. She'll start to chase what she thought she had already conquered. That's the power of emotional scarcity. By stepping back, you show her that she's not the center of your universe, that she doesn't dictate your emotional supply. You show her that you've got your own path to follow, one full of growth and wisdom, one aligned with the paths of wisdom and Stoic rules that teach us that our worth is not determined by anyone else's validation. You're not a man to be taken for granted. You are a man of conviction. And when she sees that you don't need her approval, it's only then that she'll start to see you in the light you've always deserved. Remember this, you have nothing to prove. By simply living as the man you were always meant to be, you flip the narrative, and in doing so, you turn the chase into her game. And when she chases, you hold all the power. If you're ready to stop chasing and start flipping the narrative, comment below. Value doesn't need to announce itself, it just stops showing up. Like, share, and subscribe for more powerful wisdom on reclaiming your confidence and energy. Number 6, you become dangerous when you're emotionally in control. In life, you must learn to master one crucial thing: yourself. True power is not in how loud you shout, how much you chase, or how desperately you seek approval. Real power is found in control, especially emotional control. The man who holds his emotions in check, who remains calm while everything around him tries to provoke him, is the man who commands respect. When the world expects you to break, to react, to chase validation, and you don't, that's when you win. In the world of emotional scarcity, where most men are ready to bend and fold when confronted, you must learn to stay still. You must stay unshakable. This is the essence of Stoicism. Epictetus, the great Stoic philosopher, once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The moment you stop playing by the old rules, when you stop reacting to every little emotional provocation and withdrawal, everything changes. She expected you to fold under pressure, to collapse when your worth was questioned, to unravel in the face of emotional manipulation. And when you don't, you break the script she's been using all along. She no longer knows what to do with a man who doesn't chase her approval, who doesn't fall to pieces when she withdraws. Emotional predictability was her weapon, but now you've rendered it useless. She's met a man who is no longer her emotional puppet, and that terrifies her. But this transformation isn't about her anymore. It's about you. It's about mastering the urge to explain, to defend, to unpack your worth like it's a commodity to be sold. You stop justifying your absence. You stop explaining your distance. You stop offering emotional bargains to people who haven't earned the right to receive them. You begin to lead with weight, the weight of calm, the weight of restraint, the weight of discipline. You no longer react because you own your emotional energy, and that energy radiates authority. Remember, as Epictetus taught, no man is free who is not master of himself. When you stop explaining yourself and start building something greater than validation, your peace, you become a force of nature. Your calm is like armor, and your power is in the space you create. You're no longer searching for approval because you found something far more valuable: the ability to shape your own reality. And when you stand firm in this, nothing, no one, can knock you off course. She might have counted on you to crumble, to beg, to chase after her coldness, but you've evolved into something she can't predict or control. That's what makes you dangerous. You've learned to master yourself. And when you do that, the world doesn't just notice, it remembers. When you stop apologizing for your distance, when you stop explaining your need for space, you enter a new realm of personal freedom. This is what Epictetus meant when he said, "He who is brave is free." You stop being a prisoner to your emotions and your circumstances. Instead, you control both. This is not just about Stoic philosophy, it's about mastering your own mind and emotions. It's about becoming a man who knows what he wants, who no longer seeks validation or approval from external sources, because he has built a fortress of peace within himself. In modern life, in a world full of distractions, chaos, and endless noise, the man who masters his emotional energy stands apart. He doesn't get swept up in the drama. He doesn't react. He doesn't chase. He doesn't need approval. He knows that when you can control your emotions, nothing can control you. You will rise above the noise, the drama, and the chaos, and the world will respect you for it. The most powerful man in the room is the one who stays calm while the storm rages. The man who has no need to prove himself because his very presence is enough. That's the man who wins. Number 7, rebuild the man who doesn't need her. Rebuild the man who no longer needs her. You don't rebuild for her, you rebuild for the parts of you that were neglected, dismissed, or even broken while you spent too long trying to love someone who treated your commitment like a mere convenience. It's not about getting back at her or proving anything to her. It's about remembering who you were before the world taught you to shrink just to make her feel comfortable. You rebuild because you're tired of being the small one, always contorting yourself to please someone who never appreciated your truth. You're tired of tiptoeing around the very things that make you, just to avoid upsetting the delicate illusion of a relationship that only you tried to hold together. You rebuild because you finally realize that no one is coming to save you. You've understood that closure isn't a conversation you'll ever get, but rather a decision you must make. Healing isn't a feeling that's going to arrive on your doorstep one day. It's something you create with your own hands every single day. You wake up every morning and choose to leave behind the broken pieces of what was. Every rep at the gym isn't about attention. It's about every single lift being a vote for your return, a vote for your strength, a vote for your future self. You read not to impress others, but to sharpen your mind, to think clearly, and to cut through the chaos when it inevitably comes knocking. You develop routines not to drown out thoughts of her, but to anchor yourself so deeply in your own power that you can't even imagine running after someone who once dismissed you. You rebuild because the man who tolerated half-hearted love is no longer welcome in the life you're crafting. That man, the one who stayed too long, gave too much, apologized for his existence, he served his purpose, but he's not invited to your future. You rebuild because life didn't break you to bury you. It cracked you open to reveal that you were living too small, too quietly, too afraid of losing someone who never feared losing you. Now that you know this, there's no going back. You don't need her closure. You don't need her sudden epiphany about how you were worth it all along. You need action, your discipline, your silence. You need habits that are so ingrained that even if she texts, even if she cries, even if she begs, it wouldn't matter. Because your path no longer lies behind you, it's straight ahead. You rebuild not to prove anything to anyone, but because your peace, your purpose, and your pride are non-negotiable. When you rebuild from this place, everything changes, your energy, your posture, your very essence. You stop hoping she'll notice you because now you realize she doesn't matter. The man you are becoming doesn't ask to be seen. He's undeniable. He doesn't seek validation. He creates impact. He doesn't wait to be chosen. He walks in as the choice. That man isn't just healing. He's unrecognizable. If something deep inside your soul finally stirred while hearing this, don't go back to sleep. Don't return to the woman who made you question your worth. Don't sit around waiting for an apology that will never come. You rebuild because you know your worth now. You build with the iron mind of Stoic principles, fortified by old Stoic wisdom that tells you peace comes from within, not from someone else. This is your fight, your journey, and it doesn't stop until the man you're becoming steps into the life you've always deserved. You've reprogrammed your life with iron resolve, grounded in old Stoic wisdom. This man, the one who rises, is unshakable. He embodies the Stoic principles of strength, discipline, and an unyielding sense of self. The more you embrace this, the more you realize you don't need her. You never did. The power was always yours to take back. Hey, thanks for sticking with me until the end. If you're done giving away your energy to people who don't appreciate it, it's time to take charge. Build a version of yourself that's strong, unshakable, and unforgettable. Not just to women, but to life itself. Remember, peace isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. So stop sacrificing it for people who haven't earned a spot in your world. It's time to start making decisions that serve you, not anyone else. If you're tired of chasing, tired of begging, tired of being drained, this is your moment. Like the video, subscribe for more content like this, and drop a comment saying, "I choose strength." If you're ready to take that first step toward a life where you hold the reins, don't wait until it's too late. Take action now. See you in the next one.